Welcome to Angel's Table and our third segment on our series, Sex and Nudity in the Film Industry. I will welcome back my co-host, Akbar Matheson, and our returning guest, Katelyn Maylum, and two friends, the very lovely Rachel Pleasant and Akbar Husain. So,
the very handsome, the very handsome Akbar Husain.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Who's able to grow a beard.
This is true.
Despite being a year younger than me.
Yeah, that's kind of how that goes. So we've had two segments discussing sex and nudity in the film industry, and one of them was from the perspective of the producers, directors, and why often they might cast film or write films with sex and nudity into it. The other from the perspective of young actors who are trying to break into the industry, and a lot of the roles require nudity or sex. And I'm my daughter's manager, as you both know. And so for me, as the manager, agent, going through breakdowns, and I see all the sex and nudity, and how I feel about it from that perspective, but then I thought, okay, well, that's my perspective as the mom of a young actress trying to break into the industry. So then it just got me to thinking, well, what is it that the viewers are wanting in their film? And I mean, I know my friends, most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them is like, really, do we have to see her boobs? Really?
Yes.
Did they have to have that sex scene there?
Yes.
I would have been happy if it was just implied.
It sells.
It does. Well,
That's all right.
You need to see it.
I guess so. So as the young viewers, how do you feel about that when you go to film? Are you happy it's there, or would you rather not be there? Do you care one way or the other? Does it enhance the movie? Not? Doesn't matter one way or the other, and you just think, well, it's there, it's there. So from a female perspective.
It's interesting from our perspective because we're usually the ones getting ousted in these films. So it can be very helpful to the storyline if something is related to nudity that's going on in film, and to not put it in there, it seems fake. The story is not told, it's half done. If somebody's at a doctor's appointment and they're getting a breast check or something to that extent, I just recently watched one, and if they didn't show her, then that's not really what it's like for a woman in that situation.
Okay.
So yeah, it might be uncomfortable for some people, but that's not the whole story. And if you ask somebody in real life who went through that, then that's not what's actually happening to them.
Well, what if they
was that a film or was it a
It
documentary?
was a film. I believe
Okay.
it was Love and Other Drugs.
Okay.
So
They just do it from the shoulders up. Like,
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I think that would be effective. But when it's something so personal, when that is in this particular situation where the disease is coming from, then maybe alluding to it isn't the best, because it's also something that
is
is
that movie
popular.
about breast cancer?
It's about illness and disease.
And,
so,
yeah.
Pharmaceuticals in
I can't
general.
remember now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I can't remember now what her illness was. I think it was cancer, but
yes.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see how that can help. But when you see a bro flick and there just happened to be a girl walking out of the room just stark, like, well, we understood that happened. This poor girl.
you didn't really need to do
Well,
that.
I really actually like in one of my favorite movies. There's a really realistic scene. It's Airplane. So the plane is going down, people are freaking out, and then a woman showing only the neck down bounces across the screen and then bounces off. And I just thought, I've seen so many naked women on airplanes that I was just so upset that it hadn't happened before that movie.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
Also, that might be one of my favorite gags in a comedy. It comes out of nowhere, it happens, it's over. Nothing about it gets addressed. It's just hilarious.
I mean, this is where the table is clearly split.
Right. Well, and I had mentioned earlier that I'm not sure how I really felt about sex and nudity in films before Sullivan became a young actress. And now I see it completely differently because I really do when I view things. It's like, that's somebody's child. The dad's probably going, oh my gosh, I can't watch this, you know. And I'm thinking, I don't even know how to send my friends to a movie, you know, like, oh, okay, like we turned on a movie recently and it was like, I would never have been able to send any of my friends to see the movie. I'm sorry, you can't see her movie, even if it's the first one she's in that's, you know, going to be on the screen. I'm like, no, sorry. So that was kind of where a lot of this is coming from. But now, these bro flicks.
Well, they're meant for men.
Yeah, they're catering to an audience, right? You're catering to an audience.
They're meant for straight men. Okay, if I need to get very specific.
But still the majority, I feel.
By far.
Yeah.
They're much more straight men than gay men.
They're going to make more money. It's a business, right?
But it's playing off a stereotype, absolutely. I think that's why it's really harsh for our reality, because it's this specific type of person that they're targeting, and they're using us to do so.
As bait.
Yeah, as bait.
Right,
As
meat.
bait, literally. So
Piece of meat.
that part I don't know how I feel about.
Well, I think that the whole argument just, which maybe is a better argument for a different day.
Yeah,
but
that's a whole social concept.
but I mean, I think that whole thing is like men like women. Get over it. Is generally how I whole view that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's not like you
Like-
can't say the same, you know, for women. Like when there's a guy with chiseled abs, and you know they sexualize men too. It's not only one way. And that sells.
Totally.
Well, and I think as well,
but
women
it's not
sexualize
really seen
women
as
as
nude
well.
anymore.
Whereas
It's just shirt off.
why is
men
that?
probably don't sexualize men that much.
We have nipples
Well,
too. Like, hey,
That's
but
true.
That's very interesting, because if you think about it, nudity is the most natural form of a human, but culture is what makes it dirty or sometimes wrong.
Right.
And so when you put up these gender norms and the different stereotypes and, you know, obviously film, then when we see Magic Mike, that's okay. But when you see something called Blue Mountain State, then people freak out. So, you know, we took something that was very natural and obvious to the human race and turned it into something that was culturally so wrong here in America.
There
Right.
wasn't any nudity in Blue Mountain State, was there?
Wait for it, there's a movie coming out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
it's only because it's on Netflix and like anyone has access that they kind of like, you know, tone
Yeah.
it down a bit. But.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's more of a culture where we're actually moving to where almost everything does have sex and nudity into it, because either because we're becoming more open-minded, or because there's producers, writers, directors taking advantage of the fact that women are, we're going to go back to something we mentioned in one of the other segments, empowered, and being empowered, you know, I'm owning my sexuality, I'm owning that I can stand here nude or have the sex scene, it's my choice. So, and you know, to some extent, I'm wondering if we're moving toward that, because it is, you know, Adam and Eve were nude, you know, so maybe that's where our natural state is supposed to be, and then what, you know, that's of course a religious thing, but taking you back to where now people wear clothes. So I don't know. So maybe people are just gravitating to their
Or
natural,
people
the
wear
way they were
clothes
born.
to protect their feet and themselves from the
The elements.
Yes.
Environment.
I mean, I
or
know.
because if you don't wear a bra, it's really annoying to run. It's like
You don't even know.
I know.
I know about other things about running.
Okay.
Exactly.
But then if we're going, you know, to that, how do you explain things like Game of Thrones? Obviously not a film, but they're notorious for having these nude scenes. They're also quite explicit, but people are okay with it because they almost expect it at this
Of
point.
the
And
times, though, I think
And
where the
exactly,
setting,
that
you
was
know what
my
I'm saying, it
go-to.
wasn't so
Absolutely.
culturally taboo. Like breasts were just breasts, you know,
Yeah.
and they weren't so sexualized back then. I think, and like you said,
Well,
they're catering to that audience.
let's be fair.
different type.
This wasn't a time period.
Oh right, it's fantasy, but you know,
Back
I get what
like,
you're
oh
saying.
yeah, but-
Yeah, like I understand what you're saying.
We like to think it's reality.
Right, yeah.
But
as if it was a year tattoo.
Right.
But in that
Oh,
regard too,
God.
that's kind of the point. We just made that seem okay, and it's not even real. It didn't actually happen. But yet, in some cases, people freak out about it with it's 2 hours of boobs or it's a 30-second commercial at the Super Bowl. So where is that line is what advertisers, it's what producers, screenwriters, directors need to figure out, and how to progress society instead of continue to make it some sort of evil thing that we kind of see it as today.
So,
Wait, what do we see as evil?
So a lot of people don't think nudity is okay.
All
Whether
those people can get over it.
this is a very open-minded table.
I know, and I'm being open-minded about the nudity.
yeah, that's probably the least open-minded about it, I do think it's mostly because of my daughter, and that if you don't want to do that, and you're limited, and if more and more of the writing is going towards sex and nudity, that's when it kind of becomes the problem, and especially because there are sometimes you think, well, they didn't really need to have that scene. I mean, sort of.
But they could, and they wanted to.
They could, and they wanted to,
So.
and somebody agreed to whatever the payment was for that particular role. But I mean, there are a lot of okay, with the HBO shows, I do get that. With a lot of rom-coms, that they will show more than they used to, and I don't know if that's really necessary.
Like,
Because
well,
I would.
Pardon?
I have a what rom-com recently was a little more risque than usual.
Well, I mean, we talked about forgetting
but-
Sarah Marshall earlier.
but, yeah.
The scene with him full frontal.
And
That was a
I was gonna bring that up, but then I think that's the only nudity in the movie, right?
No, he was. There was a couple sex. Him and Mila Kunis had a sex scene.
Yeah,
And their room was right next.
But
to it.
they weren't. There was no nudity.
I don't
in that.
know.
There was the picture of her,
Yeah.
but that was also that was Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's a photograph of boobs.
Yeah, but I think
Whose boobs? I guess it doesn't matter.
I think when it's a photograph, somehow there's more. Seems like it's more lenient. Like a photograph in a
Versus,
movie
like,
is kind of like
Instead of the actual flash.
Yeah.
You know?
it's like
You don't know how genuine it is or something.
yeah, it's just
I don't know.
kind of like.
Well, what about with the sex scenes are becoming a little more explicit, even if they have covers over them? It's almost going
Even
through
on
the
TV.
whole, through the whole
I mean,
act.
regular
it's not
TV,
just,
not
fading
cable.
out once they start.
yeah.
They show the
It wasn't
whole.
like Friends, like you would just see them laying there after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Now it's like you
Well-
see everything.
But
And even if they don't show anything, it's still like a solid 30 seconds of scandal where you're like,
Right,
I really don't want to watch you having
Awkward.
But
sex.
TV now is also different.
Oh,
Where-
yeah.
Where I mean,
Yeah,
it's got plot. It's got story.
true.
It's not
It's not just fluff.
it's not just
Yeah.
Columbo doing Columbo things.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, and I guess, like I know you are very different on what you view. Like you won't watch the mainstream stuff that I watch.
Well,
like
I don't know anything about
Bones
mainstream
and
stuff. I just
Still-
don't watch any,
Network.
Case of the Week show. I just don't watch Case
Oh,
of the Week.
that's true.
That's all.
And because sometimes
That's
I
my
just want to
standard.
be entertained. I don't really want to have to be watching and then go, oh, I have to sit through a 30-second sex scene or. And, I mean, it's not that I'm prudish, and I'm less so because of how much stuff I watch with you. At first it's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And my son's sitting on the sofa. And that actually is the real
Get over
thing,
it.
too. Because how much stuff you watch, you can plop it in and you go,
You're like desensitized.
oh,
to it.
great.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and
Definitely.
now that time is passing, that we still, Parker's always going, she's going to bring this up, but especially in shows like Boardwalk Empire.
Which is
where-
what we've been
Oh my
watching.
goodness.
oh wow.
Well,
Together?
I know, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I get old.
So that's kind of part of it. It's like, well, we want to watch, something together, and then we watch it.
Well, I had no intention of watching it with her. I started it.
At least he's honest.
I started it. I was like 5 minutes into it, and she's like, "Oh, is this Boardwalk Empire?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that." It's like, I'll back it up.
I didn't know.
Right.
But I also didn't remember how much sex there was in it. Like I knew that there was a whole the bordello was a big part of the scenery, but just I was like, whatever, boobs in the background, I don't care. But yeah, there's quite a bit of sex in it, and I didn't in-depth sex scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's an interesting point.
okay, and it's almost pornographic.
Oh yeah.
Which makes me wonder, why is porn, a crime when HBO is
Porn's a
having...
crime.
Porn's not a crime?
At least not anymore.
I guess it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, people...
But it's
prostitution.
Yeah, it's
Right?
so,
Unless
yes,
you
okay. Okay.
So if
So,
what's
but
the
there's
Whoa, I
not a
never really
stigma.
thought about that. That's weird.
What? What he
We,
said?
so I was saying, well, yeah, no, prostitution is a crime, right? And then he's like, well, if you're filming it, then it's almost a porno, so then it's not a crime. And it's like, oh, what?
Yeah, you're getting paid.
Right, so, I don't know, there's...
Interesting.
Permits. There's permits and consent involved. It would be mildly different between those.
There's rigorous testing.
Yeah.
But then
No, that's
if you want to, hire a prostitute, you gotta go through this lengthy procedures. You can still do it.
tell us about this
You
link.
just described it.
Yeah, sure.
So
Testing, payment, camera.
But to bring back to the point you two brought up, that's so interesting. When you're watching, a show with friends, how you react to it's really different. I know when I'm with my girls and we're watching, let's say, Girls, be like, wow, that's a really cute bra. Where did she get that? But if I'm with my mom, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't notice that ceiling tile has a stain. So there's two different. So what does that say about our society? Obviously, it's not the same in every room you step into or who you watch it with. That's why when you go to the movies sometimes, you're like, wow, I need to go with people I'm close with, and I hope nobody creepy is sitting next to me because this could go very poorly in the next 2 hours.
Right,
is that a problem you've had where you're watching an R-rated movie and you
Yep.
see someone creepy next to you?
Yep.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've been to
That's
plenty
another
R-rated
issue
movies.
with
Yeah, me
movies.
too. I've never felt at one point like someone might do something weird, but
I went to the Entourage movie and I was one out of maybe
Well, okay.
5 girls in that
You went to
entire
the
theater.
Entourage.
I know that may or may not have been a poor choice on my part. And besides going with guys and having every single person around me a dude, and then at certain parts I'd be like, oh, let's look at the girl for how did she react to that? So I felt like sometimes they would just look at me for confirmation, like, is this okay?
Oh, interesting. That's actually, yeah.
So that's one part
Yeah.
that I felt very strange.
Yeah.
So there's a sort of innate guilt about it,
Yes.
like the whole sex and nudity and
Who brought
like
her?
you said, like the crowd you're in kind of determines how you're going to feel about it too. So
Yeah,
It
that's
does make, because there's more and more of it, it does make it harder to watch with just anybody.
Right,
Yes.
right. It's kind of got a pre-screen,
Right.
to watch.
That's
But-
why you
What's the name of the
IMDb.
Christmas movie
Yes.
that Dad likes so much?
Love Actually.
Love Actually. So, we both really
yeah.
Classic.
like, sorry, my cameraman is bugging out on that one.
Didn't the guy pass
So-
away? Snape?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
sad.
yeah. So Pete and I really liked this movie, and then he said, well, let's put this Christmas movie in. And then I said to him, do you remember the one scene, and I can't remember if they were in high school or middle school, I don't even remember when that came out. And I said, that's the greatest movie, but we can't watch that movie with our children.
See, it's funny. So whenever I'm showing movies to you guys that have any scenes I don't want to watch, I just strategically go to the bathroom or get a snack. Like with American Psycho, which I wanted you guys to watch so bad. He's in there murdering, murdering prostitutes. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
That's one of my favorite movies.
It's hilarious. Anyways, I don't think I would watch that with you guys at all. I'm just like, watch this, and then I just left.
I was gonna say, because I don't remember being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that might have been
Yeah,
harsh.
Yeah.
But with movies that I know there's gonna be sex in coming up, I'm just like, maybe a snack. I'm just gonna.
So why did you leave in Boardwalk Empire when?
Because it happens all the time.
Right, you get
You missed half the story.
Yeah.
There was one scene and it's like, I really don't know what to do at this moment because I am watching this with my son and this is incredibly uncomfortable. It's like, oh my gosh. So, I don't know. I don't even know what to do. It's either grow up at my age, get on board with what culture and society is now going for and,
I think you should never stop growing. Definitely.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
We always have to adapt. We always have to
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
open-mindedness. Without it, you get, You don't become a recluse.
You get left
Like,
behind.
You get left
Exactly.
behind.
There are a lot of
You
things
miss
that
a lot
you
of
won't be able to
things.
connect with other people on,
Right.
and then there's a whole social aspect that you're just not a part of.
Yeah.
True.
And that's one thing, I don't want to be left behind. I mean, it's like with a lot of women my age, a lot of them really would rather there not be nudity and sex, and they're like, you can apply it and we're good. And I'm starting to become, when I'm watching it, did I appreciate that for what it was? Did it just make me uncomfortable? Yeah, that added something to it. I see why they did that. So I analyze a little bit more, which I'm an analyzer anyway. But I do have friends who really, they enjoy it. They say, yeah, no, I like it. It's good. You know, like it's when it's gratuitous, I don't. But, you know, in general, they're okay with it. But a lot of women my age don't like it. And because I like to always hope that I'm relating to the younger generation, because I really truly
You're
enjoy.
not.
I know. Thank you.
You're biased.
I know, right? That I do want to understand, you know, what you all think, and you know, if I'm just, you know, stuck, you know, somewhere else. So I actually appreciate everybody's comments.
But to play off both of your points, we obviously want to keep moving forward, but think about these classic movies, or you know, movies that have alluded to nudity in the past. Things like Forrest Gump, which you know everyone has seen whether you like it or not. Now think about those remakes that will inevitably happen in 20 years. Now think what that's going to look like. Are they going to be, you know, breaking the mold and making strides in the industry and how we think, or are they just going to completely go the opposite direction, cross that line, and do a complete 180 and ruin the movie and not help the situation whatsoever?
Let's be fair, we're living in the age of television, not movies, so.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
true,
going
yeah.
that way. I
Yeah.
think,
Which is
Internet,
fine.
you
Which
know,
is fine, I don't care.
streaming, Netflix, things like that.
Yeah, but things like
Right.
on demand, what's stopping from the person fast forwarding that sex scene and the commercials, you know? So there's a lot of things that can be avoided, but you know, there's quite a bit that can't be. So how are we going to take that as a society?
Right, right. Interesting. Well, one last question before we wrap it up.
Yes.
If there isn't any sex and nudity in things, will you still appreciate them? Or as a man, do you feel like there needs to be a little
There
bit
needs to be at least like half the movie needs to have nudity in it. Otherwise,
Oh,
He's not watching.
it will not capture my attention.
Oh, you say that's
There was way too much seriousness
I know,
behind
right?
that.
I know.
That's how I sell the joke. I do it with
master
all
sarcasm.
seriousness. No, I don't care. I don't need nudity even slightly. But like we were talking about Boardwalk Empire, there's a full sex scene which was entirely uncomfortable to watch with her. But it was a sex scene that I felt in the end of it was entirely necessary. It was, and it was gratuitous, but it like showed the sexuality of this character in a very necessary way, and then it showed the aftermath of it, and I was like,
Oh, okay.
I appreciated that scene entirely.
I did
Don't want to
too.
watch it with her ever
I
again.
don't want to watch it again.
I don't really want to watch this scene with anybody.
Yeah.
But for many, I mean, it was incredibly well done, because you really felt what this person felt at the end of it. You're going,
And it's
oh
art.
my gosh,
Yeah.
wow. So it really truly was necessary to get the whole benefit of what the emotion was there. It was incredible acting. It was just phenomenal beyond. And that's one thing I you know, from some of those, is the acting is so fantastic. So I have to see past some of that stuff that makes me uncomfortable. But yeah.
But yeah, so I
I
kind of wanted to just point and say that, but yeah, I don't need nudity at all. I don't really care, but I don't care if it's there or if it's not.
Right.
We're the same way.
I want to
Yeah.
hear what Akbar has to say on it.
I'm
You
kind
say
of the
this like
same
you guys are a
page.
team. We're individuals, but
Yeah, right, we're
we
dividing
got
this
it.
table. No.
So as a gender.
I would say I'm definitely on the same page as Parker. Like, I don't need it, but the way you're explaining to me that this scene in Boardwalk Empire went, you think it had a deeper impact because of the way it went. So I think sex and nudity should be used more as a tool rather than something that's constantly there. If it's not giving to this plot, or if it's not giving me any character depth, I don't think it needs to be there. You know, it should make
Unless
sense.
it's a bro flick.
Unless, well,
Yeah,
even
that's
then,
right.
like,
Well, that's the
the mental
point of that.
state or
Yeah,
something like that. Like, these are all choices. Like, I don't watch that stuff. I really don't. I will admit to going to see 50 Shades with my fiance because she wanted to see
That's
it.
love right there.
Yeah.
But like I know, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna be and it was just the acting is what didn't do it for me.
Right,
It was
it had
the
nothing to
acting.
do with-
Yeah, exactly. It had nothing to do with the
Right.
sex and nudity. That's what the whole story was about. How can you portray that without sex and nudity? And again,
right,
so,
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah, I would definitely say.
I didn't actually go see that movie, but it wasn't because of the sex and nudity, it was because of what the story represented.
Mhm.
And I really didn't want to give money to a
Right.
program that was
That's fair.
about somehow accepting of the abuse.
Mhm.
Well,
So I heard it was more about her trying to
Manipulation.
change him. That's what I heard the story was
I
about.
have literally no basis for saying anything because I have not watched it, read it, or anything. Just what I read, it wasn't supposed to be condoning anything. It's just that it was about a BDSM relationship. It wasn't, but that's not actually how it was. It was actually just an abusive.
How it
relationship.
translates, yeah.
Like no, not even how it translated. Like it was apparently just an emotionally abusive relationship, but people did not
Yeah.
Did you see it?
The people just thought it was BDSM.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just, but I.
There were more layers to it for sure, but
Yeah, but I.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
Should I say you're the only one who's seen it? I
Oh, wow.
haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
interesting.
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't
So-
comment on it.
Well, but then that's actually kind of an interesting thought, is that people deliberately didn't see it for those purposes, so.
and
I
I
mean, but
didn't
it's not
feel
like-
that it was too much. Again, because I had the expectation of this movie will have that.
Mm.
So I was wearing a different lens. I was just like, you know what? I
Right.
suspended my judgment of anything else. I'm watching a film, an artist made it. I'm just gonna try to get whatever it is from this and
Yeah, I don't
not
think
judge it or.
I don't think I've ever
That's a
had
good way to
a
look at it.
feeling that anything's ever been too
much.
No.
I guess.
No.
But having said actually too much,
I still haven't seen
everyone
Revenant,
should
so-
watch the first
haven't
episode
seen what?
of
Revenant.
Black
Oh, I
Mirror
haven't either.
because the first
What is
episode
it?
of Black Mirror is a nightmare and I almost thought it was too much and I don't think anything's too much. It was so close. I'm like, you can't watch it, but everyone else should watch it.
So what you're saying is
Interesting.
that's what I'm gonna do later today.
Yeah. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, then you
It's-
tell me.
It's
because
it,
I
it
trust
was.
him.
Now, does it give to the story though? Is it
Oh,
actually
there-
used as a tool as
there's-
opposed to
there's
like just
literally
sexualizing?
no nudity in the episode.
Oh.
And he can't explain it.
I don't want to because it'll ruin it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
we'll
unless
get
you
to
know-
experience
yeah,
it on our own.
okay.
And make our own call.
It is hard to watch.
Oh, okay.
That has to be
boy,
hard. 'cause-
okay.
But I enjoyed all of it.
Wow. Well, thank you all very much for this
Thank you.
conversation. It's been very fun. I like hearing everybody's ideas, and I mean, you guys
Good
have
to be here.
been around. I love having conversations with you guys anyway. So, on a topic that I really like, it's all about the film industry. So, it's perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in.